Hey there, Jeff Ford at CrossFit Hilton Head in South Carolina today, coach of Less Miles, More CrossFit CFE team, and today we're going to talk injury prevention. Number one, we are going to establish what causes injury. Two, we're going to go through the two major errors that we see in runners that cause injury. And then three, we're going to break down what this means for you and your athletes. Okay? So let's get started. Number one, it's just like anything in CrossFit. If we don't have a standard, we can't see a deviation in technique, but an injury is really caused by any deviation from our technique, just like in a deadlift. If we get bent over and don't have that straight lumbar curve, it's going to result in lower back pain and an injury. So in running, we establish the figure 4 position. Any deviation outside that figure 4, that foot not underneath the general center of mass out in front or in back, causes injury. Another reason is a failure of strength. Sometimes the athlete's muscles just aren't prepared for that intensity or for that movement in general. So what are the two major errors that we see in runners? Number one, we see them stopping a movement. Okay? When you stop a movement, you're basically forcing tissue in a direction that it doesn't need to go, to where this is acting almost like a brake in front here. Ideally, when we run, that foot needs to be directly underneath our body, that general center of mass, so it absorbs the shock, that there's more elasticity. There's no elasticity here in the knee, and it's just hitting with a straight leg out in front. A lot of bad stuff can happen then. The second major error that we see in runners is creating a lever. Okay? When you create a lever in back, what that means is you're not as compact as you need to be when you run, to where really good runners, they'll pull their foot straight up underneath their body. Okay? That lever is just elongating the body to where it's more susceptible to injury at that point. So any deviation, these two big ones outside the technique, causes injury. So what does this mean for you and your athletes? In the short term, it means big 5 injuries: Achilles tendonitis, plantar fasciitis, chondromalacia, all of those nagging injuries that we see runners have nowadays. In the long term, it leads to knee replacements, hip replacements, major joint issues. So how do we prevent this? Well, number one, we go back to the technique. Where's that foot landing? Is it underneath the body? Are you pulling it back? What are your hips doing? All those factors that we talked about in the run mechanics video. That's your first line of defense. Then we have to go into taking care of yourself. SMR, stretching, water consumption, recovery. All of those things are another defense to making sure you stay injury-free. This is Jeff Ford at CrossFit Hilton Head in South Carolina, talking injury prevention today. We'll see you back here real soon.